Okay, my topic for speech today is abortion, which we all know is brought along by taking medications that will terminate a pregnancy. This is usually done around the 12th to 13th week. This is a picture of the fetal development at 12 weeks. By this point in time, they already have a beating heart and a working circulatory system. The alternative to a medication is surgical abortion, which is usually done later in the term, which ends a pregnancy by entering the uterus with special instruments. Here's some interesting facts regarding abortions. The abortion rate of a non-metropolitan woman is about half that of women who live in suburban areas. Black women Black women are more than 3.5 times more likely to have an abortion in 2015 than white women. Women who obtain abortions represent every religious affiliation. 13% of abortion patients describe themselves as born-again or evangelical Christians, and 25% of abortion patients are Catholics. As a Christian and as a nurse, I feel compelled to speak for the people that cannot speak for themselves. This is a very polarizing topic, which is not as cut and dry as a lot of people think, and I want to bridge the gap. One of my best friends was actually a survivor of an attempted abortion, and since this world is a much better place with him in it, it is kind of my personal endeavor to speak truth on how we can reduce abortions. So my thesis statement is, upon evaluating different studies and considering the reasons behind abortions, the safest and most effective way to prevent the abortion process is done by education, supporting pro-life choices, and recognizing the differences between pro-life and pro-birth. There was a study done by the Guttmacher Institute which monitored abortion rates around the world. This report discovered that making abortion illegal or hard to get doesn't end abortion, it just makes it less safe. Along with this, opposition to abortion tends to come along with disapproval to contraception use and women's rights more broadly, which means limited contraception access relates to a higher abortion rate. By contrast, nations with more women's rights protections, liberal abortion laws, and easily accessible birth control have some of the lowest abortion rates in the world. In Latin America and in the Caribbean, two regions that have the most restrictive abortions in the law actually have the highest abortion and unintended pregnancy rates. The stigma that comes along with outlawing it means women who terminate pregnancies clandestinely may hesitate to seek help when they need it. This negative stigma causes women to suffer alone, forcing them to a much more dangerous and illegal pregnancy termination. Beginning in 2011, the Texas state legislature cut funding for family planning services by 67%. This forced the closure of 80 clinics, including 11 Planned Parenthood clinics. An economics professor, Annalisa Peckham, published a study in the Journal of Health Economics. In addition to increased abortion rates, Peckham also found that the state's teen birth rate grew by approximately 3.4% in the 4 years after the cuts, which happened to be in counties with the highest poverty rates. At this time, the Centers for Disease Control has documented decreasing rates of teen pregnancies across the U.S., where the national abortion rate was at its lowest since Roe versus Wade in 1973. Now that we understand that illegalization is not preventing death to unborns, I would like to discuss how the closing of abortion clinics can put a woman's health at risk. When a woman has no option but to obtain an abortion later in pregnancy, major complications are more likely and costs are higher. Additionally, research shows that carrying an unwanted pregnancy to term is more dangerous to a woman's health than abortion. Limited abortion access may result in more women being unable to terminate unwanted pregnancies, keeping them in contact with violent partners, which puts both women and their children at increased risk for violence. This also forces women into less effective and more dangerous methods, including herbs and inflicting abdominal trauma. In contrast to a legal abortion that is carried out by a trained medical provider, unsafe abortions can have fatal consequences, and according to the World Health Organization, unsafe abortions are the third leading cause of maternal deaths worldwide. As we see, criminalization and restrictive laws on abortion prevent healthcare providers from doing their job properly and from providing the best care options for their patients in line with good medical practice and their professional ethical responsibilities. In conclusion, the reduction of abortion clinics does not reduce abortions. Thus, education on unwanted pregnancy directly correlates to the reduction of pregnancy termination. Isolation only contributes to more hurtful decisions, and understanding why people make drastic choices is the best way to change behavior. To me, it is not enough to want a world where there are no abortions, but to have women feel there are more options and more support and more resources, helping them see that terminated pregnancy is not even an option. Thank you.
Right at 5.5.